Hello and welcome to this analysis of the Inter Milan versus Barcelona game. We're going to have a look at Inter Milan's 5-3-2 and 3-3 shapes, as well as Barcelona's 2-3 deep build-up, 3-2-5 midfield possession, and a couple of things that they did to try and change things in the second half. Starting with Inter Milan, they were often in a 5-3-2 because they were out of possession, and they were forced to rely on counter-attacks throughout, but struggled to play intricately and dynamically through the Barcelona counter-press, this being in the first half, and then they struggled to play more cautiously also when they retreated on regaining possession and playing through or over the Barcelona 4-3-3 press. Inter Milan tried to build up in a 3-3 deep or 2-1-3 deep, where the Inter Milan centre midfielders Barella, Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan dropped to try and help out the centre-backs and goalkeeper, but with the Barcelona midfielders tracking those midfielders, Inter Milan were often forced to retreat to their goalkeeper, who was exceptionally comfortable on the ball, and then from there they would often look to play longer through balls, either into those wing-backs or straight to the forwards. Of the full-backs, Di Marco, the left wing-back, was a lot more attack-minded. Moving into Barcelona, they built up in a 2-3 from the goalkeeper, but this was very rare versus a 3-4-1-2 press by Inter Milan. In midfield possession, it looked like a 3-2-5, with Sergio Roberto, the right-back, becoming a right centre-back. You've got Busquets as the holding midfielder, with Pedri or Xavi as his partner, with a near-side player playing as a number 8. On the left-hand side, Barcelona allowed Alonso to play as the left winger, with Rafinha coming inside. This allowed him to play more centrally, but also on occasion overload the right-hand side too. Quick note on this, with Barcelona players looking to play between the lines, the Inter Milan defenders were quick to track Barcelona forward when they dropped and looked to try and overload that midfield third. Barcelona were heavily right-hand side focused, with the ball almost always ending up at Dembele's feet, looking to try and get it in 1v1 against Marco as much as possible. However, Mkhitaryan, the left centre midfielder, was constantly doubling up with Di Marco against Dembele. Dembele just generally was really poor in the first half, struggling to link with his teammates or cross-threateningly from the right-hand side. Because Inter Milan were doubling up, he did on occasion drive inside as well, and with Inter Milan heavily pushed towards that left-hand side, it did mean that the space could open up far side for the likes of Rafinha and Alonso, who'd then cross it in and Inter Milan would deflect it. Xavi did try and create space for Dembele by occupying the right-hand side half space. In the second half, Inter Milan continued to rely on counter-attacks, but with Dzeko on, they had a more concrete focal point in that he could contest aerial balls and then play the ball down into an on-rushing centre midfielder for them to then build an attack beyond the initial Barcelona press. And of course, Inter relied heavily on game management. See the fact that there were 8 minutes of added time. Barcelona continued in their 3-2-5 shape / 2-4-4, with Sergio Roberto becoming more attacking in the second half, allowing Dembele to come in off that right-hand side. There was a little bit more flexibility to Dembele's positioning, but also where Barcelona looked to attack, with there being more balance in the second half. They sought to overload the left-hand side more, with even Lewandowski coming out into those wide spaces to try and get on the ball. On occasion, Pedri moved into a left-back position to allow the left-back to push even higher on that side as well. And lastly, when Kessie was brought on, he provides a different sort of threat as a number 8, in that he's strong, he's dynamic, he has the ability to be able to take a nice touch in that half space and pin and spin a defender when they come out to press him. And with that, let's have a look at some examples. Inter are building up in a 2-1-4-3 versus the 4-4-2 press from Barcelona. The second centre forward being Xavi, to complete the near-sided wide midfielder will end up higher up, looking to try and press towards the centre-back, as we see here with Rafinha. And then also note Marcos Alonso's position. The full-back for Barcelona is expected to rush out to the wing-back when they're going to receive. And so with Barcelona's pressure, they're able to force a long ball out of Onana into the right-hand side channel. Okay, so we've got Barca pressing in a 4-4-2 shape. I class it as a 4-4-2 because whilst Rafinha has pressed towards Skriniar here, he'll look to drop back if Inter play the ball out towards their left-hand side. And we've got Xavi here marking Çalhanoğlu, and Marcos Alonso again ready to press Darmian if he receives the pass. As mentioned earlier, DeMarco is a lot higher, a lot more aggressively positioned than Darmian. Note also the position of the wide centre midfielders for Inter. Mkhitaryan and Barella would try and drop and help, but the Barca midfield would make it difficult by tracking their movement. And so with this pressure, Barca are able to force Inter back to Onana. Onana is very comfortable with his feet. He was happy to play risky passes through the lines, but then also to dink passes out into wide spaces too. On this occasion, Onana's pass was too hot for De Vrij, and Barca are able to regain possession, with Pedri ultimately trying to play Lewandowski in, but the pass just having a little bit too much on it. This was one of the rare occasions where Barcelona took the opportunity to counter-attack. into play short again, but with the Barca midfield as advanced as it is, Inter Milan look to exploit the space in behind them. So we see that with Martinez dropping off the line and linking with Çalhanoğlu, who's then able to spread play and help Inter Milan into a more established deep midfield kind of position, just entering the middle third. Again, we see the Inter Milan 3-5-2 shape versus the 4-3-3 or 4-4-2 pressing shape of Barcelona. Barcelona's defensive shape is intimidating enough that Inter Milan drop deep again to the keeper and look to go around the press. And then here Darmian is able to drive inside and connect with Lautaro Martinez, who's able to then pass into Çalhanoğlu, and he's able to spray it out wide to DeMarco, and Inter Milan are able to create a very dangerous attack. This is one of the few occasions that they were successful in creating an attacking move, and so I thought it'd be a really good scenario to show. Barcelona's shape didn't change too much despite the substitutions, and the tactical changes were mentioned earlier, such as the wide midfielders having flexibility on both sides, and also certain players bringing different strengths to the game, such as Kessie. Here in the 80th minute, we've got Barca building up in a 2-1-4 shape with Sergio Busquets as the CDM versus what was a 3-4-1-2 from Inter Milan. Although by this point in the game, Inter Milan were more worried about defending their lead, so this press lacked a lot of energy and was more set up in case Barcelona made a catastrophic error at the back and they were able to pounce. And it also just slows Barcelona, and so we see that slowing by the fact that Barca have to play out wide and then run up the side of the pitch. And so Barca are able to progress up the pitch utilising the energy of their young substitutes. And here Barca are setting up into their shape in the second half. Initially in the first half, Roberto would have stayed a lot deeper as a third centre-back, whereas here in the second half, when they're chasing the game, he was moving to more of a right midfield position. Here on the left-hand side, Balde was playing a similar role to Alonso in that he's holding the width on this left-hand side. At this point, we've got Ansu Fati playing the role of Rafinha, where he's able to come inside and then float in this left-hand side half space. Lewandowski was more central during the first half. In the second half, he liked to float out into that left-hand side channel and try and get more involved in the play. So in the first half, typically it was Pedri and Busquets who would be the holding midfielders because Barcelona were attacking down this right-hand side so much, and so Xavi was looking to try and support Dembele in this right-hand side channel. This was against Inter Milan shape, which hasn't really changed here, where they've got a back five and then you've got a three in midfield and a front two. By this point, Dzeko is expected to do a lot of defensive work, and he's looking to try and kind of just sit in front of the midfield because it's very much a backs to the wall kind of defensive action now. First of all, we can see the back five here for Inter Milan and Barcelona doing their favourite thing this game, coming to the right hand side and trying to have Dembele go up against the wing back. But as he did throughout the game, Mkhitaryan was quick to help and double up. As mentioned, Gabi is looking to try and help occupy this space and create a little bit of confusion for the centre back, wing back, and the wide centre midfielder looking to help. With all that attention, Dembele decides to go inside into Sergio Busquets and all the way across towards the left hand side. That was something that was quite important for Barcelona. They needed to keep circulating the ball towards the left hand side so that they could create more space for Dembele on the right hand side. On this occasion, Pedri looked to fire a ball into Lewandowski, who let it go, thinking that Gabi would be able to get on it. Unfortunately, Inter Milan are able to intercept that and look to try and counter-attack. And with that, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please give it a thumbs up, consider sharing and subscribing. If you'd like to watch more of our videos, please have a look at our Champions League playlist or 2022-2023 seasons playlist. And with that,